Welcome back to Let's Get Cooking. It's me, Rashida, and tonight I am showing you how to make a quick dinner consisting of meatloaf, mashed potatoes, and cabbage. Come on in the kitchen, grab your apron, and let's get ready to cook. Okay, I'm going to start off by placing my ground beef into a bowl. I am using almost 3 pounds. It's 2.75, 2 3/4 to be exact. And when I put my ground beef in the bowl, I like to just break it up to make it easier and get all the seasonings and ingredients in between. So that's what I'm going to do first. I'm using a leaner beef today, and this is a 90% lean, 10% fat ground beef because I feel that it does not leave as much oil afterwards. It does leave some, but not as much as if you use an 80 or 85. So 90 is what I'm using, but you can use whatever you have. Sometimes the more fat, they say the more flavor, but we're going to use that 90-10 today. Next, I'm going to go ahead and add my seasonings. Plenty of seasonings because this is a lot of meat. So I'm going to do salt, pepper, seasoning salt. I'm going to add in some hamburger seasoning, or if you have any steak seasoning, that'll work just as well. And you want to be very liberal with the seasonings because it takes a lot just to flavor this much meat. I'll also adding in some garlic powder. At times, some of our best mixing utensils can be our hands. I am using my hands for this meatloaf to get all the flavors into the meat. I'm combining a lot of different flavors and seasonings, so I want to just make sure they touch every part of the meat. So hands are the main utensil, and it'll be a lot of washing, a lot of hot water, a lot of soap in between. But yeah, I think those work best. Next, I'm going to add in some I call it the W sauce, Worcestershire sauce. I'm going to add in about a tablespoon of Worcestershire sauce, and that's the first layer of flavor. Okay, so my meatloaf is non-traditional. I am adding in some salsa, some chunky salsa, and then I'm going to add to that some barbecue sauce. Just regular barbecue sauce. I like some with the hickory flavor also, but it's the salsa and the hickory barbecue sauce that's going to give it that main flavor. Just trust me, it's going to turn out really good. Next, I'm going to go ahead and crack an egg in the meatloaf. That's just the binding agent that binds everything together. So we just need 1 egg. Some people might put 2 or 3, but I just like to put 1. Followed by some breadcrumbs, half a cup of breadcrumbs. Then I'm going to go ahead and mix that all together. Okay, after all that talk about how great hands are as a mixing utensil, I went ahead and got my good old mixing spoon, and for the eggs and everything else, I'm gonna go ahead and use that because I have to use my hands to prepare some other ingredients. Mostly everything is mixed in. I just want to add one little final touch, and that is some Parmesan cheese, some grated Parmesan cheese, and I'm going to go ahead and mix that in just a little bit more, and meatloaf is ready. Very easy, very simple. Now it's ready basically to go into the oven. I'm going to cook it in the oven on 350 for an hour. Want to make sure it's thoroughly cooked. So I'm going to place it on a pan with some foil, line it with foil. I'm doing a hand touch just to make sure it's moist. moist enough. Placing this meatloaf on the pan, I'm going to shape into a little mound, put some sauce on it, and then it'll be ready to go into the oven. The sauce I'm using is the same sauce that went on the inside. It's going to go on top. It's very good, very flavorful. That'll be chunky salsa and barbecue sauce mixed together, and just spread that atop. Fun fact, until I found this recipe several years back, I did not like meatloaf. I didn't eat anybody's meatloaf at a restaurant. Growing up, I really did not like meatloaf. Something about the tomato base that went on top or gravy, it just was not a combination for me. But this recipe, I must admit, I don't know if it's the salsa, if it's the barbecue, if it's that hint of barbecue flavor, but I really enjoy this meatloaf. Make it every once in a while for the family. They love it. And yeah, this is like the only meatloaf that I'll eat. Okay, I'm almost to the finish line. Once I finish spreading this on top of the meatloaf, then it's ready to go in the oven once again on 350 for a solid hour. Once in the oven, while that bakes, I'm going to go ahead and prepare my mashed potatoes. Get the potatoes boiling. So that's the next step, is the preparation for the mashed potatoes. Start my mashed potatoes by going ahead and peeling 5 potatoes and then dicing those up, putting them in some cold water to rinse off all the starch, and preparing them to go in water to boil for about 15 to 20 minutes to soften them up. So first we're just doing a rough chop. Try to dice them as evenly as possible so they're cooking at the same time. Okay, all 5 potatoes are cut, diced, and ready to go into the pot of water. Making sure to liberally put salt in this water because that adds flavor to the potatoes, which adds flavor to the mashed potatoes. Now I'm going to place the potatoes in the pot of water, turn my heat on to a medium-high heat, and cook for the next 15-20 minutes. Just need enough water to it covers the potatoes slightly. So I have a little too much water, I'll pour a little out, and I'll just let those cook till they're softened, where they can be mashed with a masher, potato masher. This is back-to-back preparation, so while the potatoes are cooking, I'm gonna go ahead and get started on the cabbage because that's the vegetable. I'm adding a pat of bacon grease. I had some bacon grease that I stored. It just flavors, enhances the dish, the cabbage, so you can just fry bacon, or if you have some extra bacon grease on hand, just use that. If you don't have that, don't want to use bacon, you don't have to. You can just put in a pat of butter. I went ahead and sauteed the onion and red peppers, and then I'm adding in my cabbage, to which I prefer to just do a rough chop or shred it. It just cooks faster that way. And I'm going to go ahead and continue to stir that for about the next 10 minutes till it softens. Add some salt and pepper, a pinch of sugar, and then the cabbage will be ready. Checking on the potatoes, they're looking good, starting to boil. Strain the water out, add some salt and pepper, and we're back to finishing up the potatoes. After I put in the salt and pepper, then on a different burner, I went ahead and melted some butter, cream, milk in a different saucepan, and I'm just going to add that combination. So that's the butter, heavy cream, and milk. And start mashing that together, seeing if it's enough. If not, I will add a little bit more milk. And then I'll top it off with some sour cream. The sour cream adds a nice tang and an extra bit of creaminess. Then I'm going to go ahead and add a little bit of cheese. This is optional. I like to throw in a little bit of cheese just to go ahead and enhance the mashed potatoes. Other variations I use are roasted garlic, and make roasted garlic mashed potatoes, and those are very good also. So as I keep mashing, I'm trying to just get it at the consistency that I want. It will not be super smooth. I don't mind a little chunk in my mashed potatoes. It tastes really good that way to me. So these will be slightly chunky mashed potatoes, but still very creamy, very good. Well, as I finish up on these mashed potatoes, my meatloaf dinner is coming to a close. Everything is just about done. The cabbage is finished, the mashed potatoes are finished, and the meatloaf is about to go off in 5 minutes and it'll be finished. And then my family can prepare to eat. Thanks for watching. Thanks for coming in the kitchen with me. I hope you enjoy this meal and you try it yourself at home. Let me know how it tastes. Thanks for cooking with me. Until next time, you have a blessed day and a blessed week. Take care.